If you're looking for an investment in Nigeria that gives you 500% return on investment, that's ROI, this video is for you. I'll explain the high ROI in a moment. One thing I've noticed when flying over all these countries that we refer to as Western countries, first world countries, developed countries, is the vast amounts of farmland. Like from the air, you can see that it's cultivated land because you see those rows that the plows made, that the tractors made. Everywhere is farmland, farmland, farmland. If it's not a farmland for crops, it's a farmland for animals like cows that produce meat, milk, and all the other products from farm animals. Once they take out the space, where people will live, where you have the residential homes, offices, the built up areas, then they take out another small amount for natural reserves. The rest are farmlands. Because these countries, their government recognize the fact that a country must feed its people. When the basic needs of humans are listed, it's always food, shelter, clothing, in that order. So these governments, the governments of these countries recognize that a country must feed its people. It's the number one human need. So they threw in lots of money. I know here, I live in Spain, the amount of money that they throw into agriculture, into subsidizing agriculture for their farmers is a lot of money. They give them subventions every year so that they will continue to produce food and produce food. These farmers produce large amounts of food, in fact, surplus, enough to feed their people and enough for export so that they can make the hard currency. Yeah, that's how a lot of countries make money. Then you come to Africa, what do you see? Jungles, 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 savanna, wastelands, uncultivated lands. So much that some people think that we live on trees. When flying into Nigeria, as soon as you leave the Sahara Desert, what you will see is jungles, forests. Yeah, that's what you keep seeing. I've never seen any row of farmlands from the air. Never. Until you land in Nigeria. That's all you see. We don't cultivate our land enough. There was a time agriculture was our major source of income as a country. Back then, the naira was stronger than the pound sterling and the dollars. Yes, these dollars that is now above 1,000 naira to $1. There was a time that the naira was stronger than the dollar and the pound sterling. Yeah. So we can say that naira was the strongest currency back then, because if these two currencies are very strong today, you can imagine if naira was stronger than them. Naira was probably the strongest currency. I'm not sure on that. Can somebody confirm it below? And then our leaders discovered crude oil and they abandoned everything about agriculture. Okay, you have a source of income that was giving you so much that your currency was very strong, and then you discovered something else. Instead of adding that to what you already have, you completely abandon what you had before. Who does that? Back then, when you turned on the TV, you always see adverts by the federal government of Nigeria, all those Operation Feed the Nation, all those back to land or something like that, encouraging people to cultivate, have a farm, even if it's a garden. We don't hear about that anymore. Today, everybody is looking for oil money. In fact, you see people, hungry people, going to loot trailers. Trailers. I saw a recent one where they were looting goats from a trailer. It makes me sad that agriculture is the number one investment that gives you such high return on investment, yet people are not into it. You plant one seed of corn, like one corn seed. You put it into the soil, it grows up and gives you at least one cob of corn. Some give you two. I've seen some that give 3 cobs of corn on one plant. How many seeds of corn do you have on one cob? Is it not up to 500? That's 500. That's where I got the 500% ROI. Okay, let's call it 300. 300%. Which other investment will give you 300% ROI on the investment? Corn, you can plant corn twice a year. So multiply that by 2. Yeah, because we quote these percentages based on, annual interest, right? So you can plant corn twice a year. Yeah, it's what do you call it? Agri people, what do you call it? It's not biennial. It's not perennial. The one that you can plant twice a year, such as vegetables and corn, this corn. The ROI is through the roof. Yet people are not doing it in their backyard. They're not doing it in their empty lands. A lot of you have empty lands. everywhere. I'm coming to that. The one of cassava blows my mind every single time I think about it. For corn, you actually put seed, you put something into the soil. Do you know for cassava, it's the stem that you put into the soil, the stick, the plant that you put into the soil. And then 9 months later or 1 year later, that stick will give you a big pan of cassava tubers. Where have you ever heard of that? That you put a stick in the soil and it gives you a big pan of cassava tubers. Unlike yam, where you have to purchase expensive seedlings, because during the planting season, the yam seedlings are usually very expensive. You have to purchase expensive yam seedlings to put in the soil for it to grow into big tubers. Yeah, but with cassava, none of that, just a stick. I think that one, I don't know, that one, the percentage is maybe 1000%, because it's actually from nothing to plenty things. I remember growing up in Enugu, we lived in an area that was still developing, so there were lots of empty plots there. So one day my mom just marched into one of the plots and started clearing it. She said she wanted to plant corn, vegetables and cassava. Before we knew it, the caretaker marched, and maybe somebody told him that somebody is in your land though. The caretaker marched with a very big machete, coming to see who was trespassing on the land he was taking care of, because like he said, he told us he wasn't the owner of the land. You know, all of them, it's a communal, it's owned by his kindred or something like that. But because this man, that was in Enugu, you know, back then we still had Anambra State, the old Anambra State. The Anambra State of today, the Enugu State of today, and part of Ebonyi State of today made up the old Anambra State. So back then, all these states had Enugu as their capital. So a lot of civil servants, a lot of people lived in Enugu back then. You know, a lot of people from present-day Anambra State lived in Enugu back then. But my mom knew how to speak Wawa dialect, Wawa Igbo dialect, because my mom, even though we are from present-day Anambra State, my mom did her auxiliary teaching in Akpugo Konando. If you're from Akpugo Konando or Amecho Konando, let me know below. You guys are the owners of the land, yeah, Enugu land, right? So when the man came, as soon as he started speaking Amecho Konando dialect, my mom switched to Akpugo Konando dialect. I said, oh, Oyizim, because Oyizim means my elder brother. Oyizim, I'm looking for where to plant what the children will eat. Why? What do you want to do? Do you want to chase away your sister? The man mellowed and said, oh, Ahuntam is my younger sister. Before you knew it, my mom has gone down memory lane, telling him her experiences in Akpugo Kulano, and the man didn't know when he took us right inside. In fact, I visited recently, and the whole area is now, you know, filled with buildings. But back then, it was just empty farmland, empty plots of land everywhere. So the man took us inside and just waved his hands like this and said, Ahuntam, just cultivate as much as you want, as far as the eyes can see. Nobody will disturb you. I am the caretaker of this place. Nobody will touch you. I'm telling you. We went in there. In fact, the thing started annoying me because that was a lot of work. When we harvest cassava, there was a species of cassava that somebody brought from Tinker's Corner in Emene then. That cassava, you put the stick in the soil, and when it matures in 9 months. After harvest, the cassava will full everywhere, like one big pan of cassava from one stick. Come and see us at the gare mill. Any day we will make gare from morning till night. We will harvest it the previous day, just pour it the next morning, early in the morning. In fact, from the previous day, we'll start peeling it. Like, I hated it then, but you know. Thinking back now, oh my God, it was the time of plenty. Nobody was hungry. Food was plenty in the market. In fact, we will make bags and bags of gari back then. My mom will be using it as gifts. You know, when a visitor came, you know, on your way home, mommy say, children, bring polythene bag for me. And she will put some gari in the polythene bag for the person. That's what my mom was using gari to do back in the day. I would be like, oh, after I toiled at the gari mill to fry this gari, you're giving it away. My mom would say, he shouldn't know how to sell food. Like, oh my God, there was plenty of food back then. People were not hungry. So please, if you live in a place where there's an empty land, just go and look for who is the caretaker there and get permission to use the land to plant something. And you'll be surprised at how many people will let you use their land, because they don't want their land to lie fallow. They don't want the grass to be overgrown, because, you know, they spend a lot of money cutting the grass, you know, once the rains come, they will start cutting the grass regularly so that the place will not be overgrown. But if somebody is using it for agriculture, yeah, the person will be taking care of weeding the place, right? But please make sure you meet with a caretaker. Don't be like my mother. You know, back then, I'm talking about 80s and 90s, Nigerians were still sane because there was not much suffering in the land. You know, now with hunger and suffering, with too much sugar in the land, people eye they see red. They will mama you before they hear that you can speak their language. Some of you have plots and plots of land. Yeah, you tell me that. You go to Nigeria, especially those of you that are abroad, you go to Nigeria, you buy plots and plots of land, you know, waiting for when you retire to go home and set up your industry or to go home and start planting it. You can plant crops there, especially if you have people that will take care of it for you. If you don't want to plant all these crops that mature easily, like vegetables, they need a lot of care, corn, cassava, they need somebody to be weeding it, you know, taking care of it all the time. If you don't want to do that, you can plant biennial crops. You can plant plantains. There's this special species of palm tree, the Malaysian palm tree or something like that. You can plant it there. These ones do not need too much care. You can plant coconut, pawpaw. Yeah, these ones take several years to mature. All you need to do is contact people that are into these kinds of things. They are all online, yeah. And these plantain suckers, they don't cost a lot. Sometimes 300 naira at most. You can buy one plantain sucker, and then you go and plant it on that your land. I have a video on this channel, this video, where I talked about how you can use your empty pieces of land. This is one of it, agriculture. And during the time of harvest, my dear, people will line up waiting for you to just cut down the plantains so that they will cut them away. They didn't know they reach ground, as they say in Nigeria. So do something today. The rains are here. The first rains are here. It's planting season. Plant something. Have you seen those videos where people even plant yam in sacks of soil? You can plant in a lot of places now. There are lots of empty plants. I know that some people live in places where it's too insecure to go to farm. Yeah, that one, safety first. What you should be doing now is calling out the government. Come together as a group, call out the government with a loud voice. Go as one group with one loud voice to the government. Start from your local government, your state government, the house member representing your zone. Cry out, shout, and they will hear your voice. They will definitely hear your voice. Please plant something today if you can. Look around you. Even if you're a tenant, if your landlord can allow you keep potted flowers in the compound, they can allow you put potted vegetables there. Yeah, it's just one big pot, and you can plant even scent leaves, green amaranth, or go there. Yeah, at least that will save you going to the market to buy all these things. One thing good about agriculture is that you don't even have to do it yourself. You can hire laborers, people to come and plant it for you. You can make inquiries about how to do certain things. You can learn on the job. You don't need to be an expert. While some crops, such as rice, require special soil, like swampy soil, to plant, and it requires special skills and expertise. And these may not be, available to you. You may not be close to swampy land. You can plant other crops that don't require such. The painful part is that some of you have lots of land which you've fenced, waiting for when you will build. 1 year will come and go, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You haven't started building and the land is lying fallow. Please stop it today. Invest in agriculture. Plant something today. Konyi fenana, as we say in Igbo. Plant something today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe, because I plan to bring experienced people who are experienced in this agriculture, who are experienced in various aspects of farming. I plan to bring them on this channel to educate us. See you in my next video.